So we can all agree that Korean manhwa have been crushing it lately. You've got some pretty good ones in almost any genre you like. You want action? Got it. You want Murin where the MC beats the shit out of everyone? Yup. Or perhaps you want some romance that literally crushes your heart and makes you question your life choices. They've got it too. But the #1 spot for the most popular and oversaturated genre of recent time has to be given to reincarnation and regression. Yes, you heard me. The Curse of Isekai finally reached Korea. However, out of that pile of generic, copy-paste, solo leveling wannabe manhwas, one series stood out. A manhwa so addicting that you cannot help but nibble on your fingernails like a crackhead while reading that shit at 3 AM. That manhwa is The Beginning After the End. And what happens if a manhwa gets so much hype and attention? That's right, the fans demand an anime adaptation. And surely because of how well the manhwa is written and highly regarded by the viewers, it will get the best adaptation of all time. And finally, that day is today.
Oh no.
Yeah, they like to us. In case you're not up to speed, Tbate received an anime adaptation that is a glorified PowerPoint presentation. Like from the animation to the effects to the sound design. Honestly, I don't think they have one aspect right. But now the question is, how did it come to this? How does one of the most hyped manhwas out there get such a bad adaptation to the point of the fans themselves are joking about the show not existing in the first place? Is it a mismanagement of the resources they had? Or is it greedy directors who only care about the money and not the fans? Or maybe they were just jealous of Blue Lock and wanted to one-up them. But before we talk about any of that, let me just show you what I mean by the shit show they made. Let's start with the opening scene. A character named Gray becomes a king, mercilessly killing his enemies and destroying large cities in modern time, trying to conquer everyone and rule over the world. One day, he dies of ligma and gets reincarnated into a magical world, blah blah blah. You know the rest. But let's talk about that later. What I'm focused on is the opening scene. Here, I don't see anything that's completely bad. The combat looks okay, the visual effects of the city bombing looks good. The only problem I might have with this scene is the aura effect that doesn't look appealing. But regardless, it's nothing to be mad about. But that doesn't last long, because as soon as the show gives you hope and the king gets reborn into another world, we see the first hint of something that will become a staple throughout the show. What the fuck is this? Like, he didn't even try to move. As soon as it came to breaking the rock, they just cut to a manhwa panel with CapCut effects and some camera shaking. Are we out of budget already? Were they scammed by the whole city bombing scene and dumped all their budget into it? Okay, chill out. Maybe it's just hard for them to draw rocks getting crushed. I don't know. The next combat scene would at least look better. There is no way. They did the same thing again. The only difference being is that they added these shockwave effects to make it seem it's animated. It's literally the first episode of the series. Where did the budget of the whole successful manhwa go? Mind you, almost every anime starts with dishing out all their ults into the first episode to leave a good impression and make the viewer continue watching the rest of the show. But what Tbate does is literally the opposite. They put almost zero effort whatsoever in any movement related scene and just slapped on a fan-made YouTube version of whatever this is. They even tried to copy India by making these typical action movie effects. Like, they can't be serious. The fans have been waiting for years for an anime adaptation because of how good the manhwa is. And the only thing they get out of this long waiting is literally shots from panels moving from left to right. I guess you could say it ended before it began. But all of what you are seeing right now can be traced back to the beginning of the adaptation. Turtle Me is the author of the original novel of Tbate, which got adapted into a webtoon later on after getting some attention. One day he got an invitation to an interview, where he answered many different questions, a few of them being the process of choosing which studio is going to work on the adaptation. And he said that he chose Studio ACAT for two big reasons. One, the director of Studio ACAT is a fan of the manhwa itself and even did a research on the novel beforehand, which convinced Turtle Me that the studio deeply cares about his work. And two, he wanted a smaller studio to work on it because he feels that the bigger studios like A1 Pictures and MAPPA won't focus on Tbate alone because they already have enough on their plate. Now these two reasons sound like more than enough to convince you to invest into a smaller studio, right? Well, It isn't as simple as that. You see, Turtle Meat doesn't really have much experience in the anime industry and how it works, so taking advantage of him would be easy. And that's what actually happened. He overlooked the fact that these companies tried to take a cost-saving route because they knew how expensive it would be to go for bigger studios. He didn't really know how much a small studio could easily take advantage of the situation and just fuck up the whole adaptation. He thought they were the next A1 pictures and would put their sweat and tears into making everything look perfect, when in reality they just manipulated him and got away with it. And that's what makes it really sad.
To see how an author of a very huge manhwa getting kind of scammed is a sorry sight to see.
And sure, some adaptations of other manhwas did flop hard, but I would say Tbate deserved an equal adaptation to Solo Leveling. Personally, I would have even chose the bigger companies, despite knowing that the manhwa might get pushed to the side, because there is no way they could have done worse than this. But why do I care so much about Tbate? Why does this adaptation sadden me more than the others? Well, it's simply because of the uniqueness Tbate gives off when reading the manhwa. There are countless manhwas that have the same premise of getting killed out of nowhere and getting reborn into the same old world with magic powers and different races. And the most annoying part about this genre is the MC himself. Literally almost every main character of an incarnation manhwa has to be OP and needs to aura farm for the rest of the show, while not showing any kind of character depth at all. We always get like 2 to 3 chapters about his past life and then get flashed by big humongous boobs out of nowhere. But Tbate is different. Arthur Lewin is not your typical MC. He shows emotions during critical moments. He cares about other characters, especially for his new family. In his past life he was an orphan, so he didn't really have the chance to experience what having a real family is like.
But in the new world he does. He experiences new emotions, new thoughts, and a sense of responsibility for his mother, father, and sister. He faces many challenges that he couldn't beat in his past life. And I was so excited for one of my favorite manhwas to come alive, because anime gives it a newer and better perspective. That's why I'm mad about the manhwa getting this kind of treatment where it actually deserved way more. So yeah. I hope a season 2 would never come out because I can't huff on that copium anymore. The show gets 2 bananas out of 10. If you enjoyed this video, it would be very kind of you to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I promise not to go missing again for 4 months. Peace out.